Hello YouTube and welcome back this miserable Thursday morning and to another Chris Chat article. We are moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about Chris and business. In particular, we're going to be starting with Chris and brand loyalty. And we start off with this quote from Chris: "You gotta have merchandise because it's like a wedding ring for the product, and it makes it, and then the fans will continue to support you as you have the merchandise. It's like a wedding ring." Chris making his thoughts on branding as clear as he can by basically repeating himself. And also you can see down here Chris enjoying his favourite product in the world. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I've shit myself. Sorry guys, sinuses and all that, it's that kind of morning. Brand loyalty is a consumer's commitment to repeatedly purchase a product or service from a particular company or business. Companies often use advertising, loyalty programs, product placement, and contests to establish a brand in which consumers will recognize, value, and seek out at the expense of other brands. Due to his difficulty separating reality and fiction, Chris tends to think advertisement is a literal documentation of a product's effectiveness, rather than an intrinsically biased attempt to lure customers. As a result of his sense of entitlement, his views on winning games of chance as a validation of his self-worth, these qualities in combination with his rigid thinking, fear of change, and attraction to routine has led Chris to have intense brand loyalty for certain products, as well as hatred for their perceived rivals. Oh, you'll see what he means by hatred, such as mental disabilities and sexual orientations. And we start off with an overview. Oil of Olay brand soap, softer, smoother skin in a week or so. And not only that, it gets you clean, and it makes you smell good. I just used it to wash my hands, and I used it in the shower to wash myself vigorously. I'm so glad he had to be specific. I certainly do not use any animals, my own jizz, or anything else other than oil of Olay brand bars of soap. Again, nobody asked, but whatever. And Axe body wash and shampoo and conditioner, available in anti-dandruff form. Oil of Olay, softer, smoother skin in a week and makes you very clean. Have a nice day. Chris promoting hygiene products without irony. Chris considers his choice of brands to be a major component of his identity, in much the same way as other things. In general, once Chris is committed to a particular brand or idea as it may be, he will stand by it regardless of its quality or implications. Sometimes both. He considers those who abandon a brand in favor of a competitor, such as Sonichu fans who became fan of Asperchu, to be hypocrites. Chris seems to consider being a consumer of a particular brand as something like a relationship, at one point clumsily attempting to use a mangled quote from the video game Brutal Legend to explain this strange belief, saying that merchandise was like a wedding ring and that as long as there was branded merchandise available, fans should stay loyal, possibly no matter what. Chris considered this as an appropriate reward for drinking thousands of cans of Coke. It's the television series of something called Ruby. I do not know what this is. As Chris's allegiance to brands plays such an important role in defining Chris's personal understanding of his identity, he feels highly threatened when either his favorite brands or his loyalty to them are called into question. Many of Chris's most notorious outbursts are a direct result of his insincerity. I should say his insecurity. While this was the basis for much of Chris's internet trolling, it apparently dates back into Chris's early life when school bullies, in a form of proto-trolling, would tell him that Sonic the Hedgehog was dead in order to get a rise out of him. Chris is highly susceptible to marketing and branding. He feels strong loyalty to brands, even and perhaps especially if they are essentially identical to their rivals. He is drawn to virtually every attempt at generating brand loyalty, compulsively entering any contest he encounters, and fastidiously collecting various loyalty points, including My Coke Rewards and McDonald's Monopoly. Free advertising, as he calls it, was it the game Little Big Planet. Do not buy or download illegal copies of Little Big Planet on Wii or Xbox 360. It is punishable by law. Little Big Planet is coming exclusively for PlayStation 3. Reverse or buy your copy of the official game disc, and if you don't have a PS3, buy one. The first official Sonic 2 level from Christian Weston Chandler is fully published on the LGBT network. Now play, enjoy it. Thank you, Sony. Well, free advertisement, but also to, plug in his own level, as it were. Chris seems to struggle to understand the economics of advertisements. Instead of seeing them as positive features in the media he enjoys, he happily included his own versions of advertisements and product placement for real brands in his homemade Nintendo Power magazine and nearly every issue of Sonic 2. He seemed genuinely surprised that Coke, for example, wouldn't want of his fake Coke ads, hand-drawn charm, notwithstanding, on the Wikipedia. He also frequently states that his videos are sponsored or brought to you by various companies, with which he has no business relations with, and uses his own variation of marketing speak to plug their products. Likewise, he often attempts to promote his favourite brands by parroting their advertising language, a habit he has since he had at least left high school. He is a vigorous defender of his favourite brands in unusual ways, warning his readers not to purchase pirated versions of Little Big Planet, a PS3 exclusive title for Xbox 360, despite the fact that this is impossible. Sonic the Hedgehog, hero of my life, according to Chris. Sonic is the quintessential example of Chris's intense brand loyalty. Chris is, in many ways, the product of Sega's attempt to allow people to feel a personal connection with electronic appliances. Following Mario's success for Nintendo, Sonic was designed to appeal to young children and act as a mascot for Sega. He was concocted by combining elements from other popular cultural elements of the early 90s, including Michael Jackson, Bill Clinton, and Santa Claus. Very weird combo there. Part of Sega's strategy was to employ a multi-pronged marketing technique including video games, television shows, toys, and contests. Chris followed all of these closely and in a fateful moment became the winner of the Sonic the Hedgehog Watch and Win sweepstakes, which cemented Sonic's place of honor in Chris's mind, possibly forever. And actually, I'll tell you what, just before we continue, let's take a little a whirl and watch the actual the news coverage itself.
We've got a little more for you, including what Sonic the Hedgehog means to a very special Charlottesville boy, and the significance goes way beyond a high score in videos.
More snow and ice. What did it say? Snow
Finally
and
tonight,
ice.
Sonic the Hedgehog is running wildly in the Chandler household this weekend. 12-year-old Christian Chandler of Charlottesville was the winner in a video game shopping spree. Christian is one of only about 100 winners nationally to receive $1,000 worth of Sega games.
Also, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh. There we go. Sonic Spin, $50 back in 1994. What do you suppose $50 for a video game would get you like this time, like in today's world? What do you suppose that's technically worth? What can you get for $50 for a video game nowadays? At least 10 times more than I think so like Fallout 76 would ever be worth. Or maybe 1/5 of the power armor you can get in Fallout 76. Bloody
games and equipment. For his parents, it's just another example of how well he's doing. Christian is a high-functioning autistic child. This past fall, on his own initiative, he entered a contest based on a favorite cartoon character.
What I had to do was exactly watch Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, and I'd listen to what Sonic says.
Also, I never noticed this before, but I love the fact that he's still got like the sticker that the shirt was bought from. I wonder if they just like bought that afternoon and Chris just put it on instinctively.
At the end of it, and write it down for a whole week, and then I had to mail it in, and I had to be drawn out of a hat, and I just won.
And Christian's father says it only takes a few hours for him to master an electronic game and then move on to another. I can't master any of them. That's it for now, and it's just coming up on the NBA basketball game at 5:30. It's not 6:30, it's 5:30. We'll see you back here at 11. Thanks for watching.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Well, that was basically that, and I know fine well Chris was obviously nervous, being on television for the first time, but you could see his dedication was that much, basically, that it caused him to do that. Let's see. Sonic became Chris's lifelong hero, replacing his previous lifelong hero, the American Rabbit. Despite Sonic's much greater grip of his life, Chris has often felt compelled to mention the American Rabbit, as if out of some obligation. While Sonic was certainly a popular franchise, particularly in the 1990s, Chris became obsessed with the Hedgehog to a level likely unanticipated by Sega. During the 1990s, Sonic occupied nearly all of his thinking, serving as a fantasy world in which he could escape from the realities of daily life. Chris would generally combine Sonic with whatever he was doing, whether it was replacing the characters in Goosebumps books with Sonic characters or combining Sonic with basketball to form the recolor Bionic. Over the past 2 decades, Chris has purchased nearly every Sonic-branded game, toy, and bits of merchandise, and seems to view Sonic as a something resembling an old personal friend. Instead of growing up and moving on when the Sonic brand began to grow stale at the end of the 1990s, Chris merged Sonic with his other favorite beloved franchise at the time, Pokemon, to create Sonichu, who was largely replaced Sonic as the primary character in his internal fantasy world, although Sonic still makes occasional cameo appearances. Despite Sonic's sidekick Tails' major presence in the Sonic canon, Chris rarely refers to him and conspicuously left him out, or any recolor of him or two-tailed anything absent from Sonichu. Some have speculated that this may be due to popular schoolyard rumors that conjectured the Sonic and Tails were in a homosexual relationship. Chris's notorious homophobia may have caused him to have an aversion to a character that he imagined might tempt Sonic from the straight path. Whatever the straight path means to Chris. Although Mario and Nintendo were vicious rivals of Sonic and Sega, Chris seems to have been largely oblivious to this tension, or simply did not care because he liked both brands, and never subjected them to the kind of hatred he would aim at rivals or his favoured products later in his life. Chris appears to worship Sonic the character more than the Sonic the brand, as he would be easily teased at school when other students said that Sonic was dead, and believed that YouTuber Hot Diggity Demon had murderous intent against the fictional character in Sonic Too Fast, and instead that Sonic was alive. It insisted Sonic was alive. Chris' almost religious dedication to Sonic reached a surprising limit when he vandalized products and assaulted staff over a superficial change to Sonic, the colour of his arms. Well, that's a very different kettle of fish right there. PlayStation 3 versus Hexbox. Yeah, kill that Hexbox. Violence is never the answer, by the way, and it shows somebody smashing a perfectly good Xbox 360 in half. And high-functioning PS3 and... Okay. Sony's PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Portable are truly a place I can call my digital home. Happy anniversary, PlayStation 3. You are truly the best life upgrade ever. Chris expressing more true and honest love. Maybe a little bit too much love, but whatever. Perhaps Chris's best known case of brand loyalty is in his sycophantic love of the Sony PlayStation 3 and abject hatred for the Microsoft Xbox 360. While fanboyism for these two video game consoles is certainly well known and the rivalry between these products is referred to as a console war, Chris, as he frequently does, took it to a new level, irrationally hating the Xbox 360 and heaping love and money on Sony. Chris was obsessed with the PlayStation 3 long before he was able to purchase one, stating that he would throw out the cure for autism for the 600 hunk of black plastic. Yes, you're not wrong, he really did say that, and I'm going to assume that he would hold on to his promise as well. But fortunately, it didn't. Finally, when he bought a PlayStation 3 after failing to win it in a contest, he considered it to be the ultimate life upgrade. The PS3 and its online component, the PlayStation Network, where he has spent thousands of dollars, became an extremely important part of everyday life for Chris. He would also use his limited budget to purchase numerous Sonic-branded accessories, Sony I should say, including a flat-screen television, a PlayStation Eye, PlayStation Move Sharpshooter, and multiple Guitar Hero controllers. Chris seems to find more pleasure in the purchasing of PlayStation 3 content than its actual use. He frequently buys downloadable content for games he does not own. You're not reading that wrong, which is insane in any capacity. Chris seems to consider the PS3 and its games and accessories to be a genuine life improvement or something akin to investments rather than a glorified hug box. How those electronic gizmos do anything but distract him from reality remains unclear. Chris went to great lengths to express his distaste for the PlayStation 3's primary rival, the Xbox 360, or more notoriously known by Chris as the Hexbox, as he liked to call it. When Chris would propose a video game such as Christian Weston Chandler's Adult Chronicles, he would make sure to state that it would be for all consoles, Hexbox accepted. Chris went as far as to defacing in-store advertisements for the Xbox while yelling, "Kick that Hexbox," and frequently lashing out at those who appeared to like or be affiliated with the Xbox. Again, that seems just childish vandalism, as it were, and yeah. Or Chris's reasons for hating the Xbox 360 have never been clearly defined, because it's largely based on nothing. When pressed for answers, Chris would generally cite Xbox Live's Xbox Online component, cost, or the infamous Red Ring of Death. He would later admit that his anger stemmed from jealousy over being unable to afford an original Xbox, and that the aforementioned reasons were merely excuses. Basically, what Chris is trying to say here is that he wasn't satisfied with just owning one. He had to have them all, for whatever reason. Though he later softened his stance against the Xbox under the influence of Jackie. The rivalry between the consoles and Chris's loyalty towards Sony was at its peak during the height of Chris trolling. This caused his hatred to become well known and the Xbox 360 to become a bit of a mascot for trolls. Chris also associated with the Xbox with trolls, depicting Alec Benson Leary as an Xbox user. Even though he has recanted much of his hatred towards the Xbox 360, he has not made the choice to purchase one, despite spending the vast majority of his money on video games generally. Chris once felt similar hatred towards the PlayStation 1 and 2. You know, my PlayStation 2 Slim is, I think, tucked away in a nice little box in the closet over there. It's still, I've had that console for 18 years now, and it has never once let me down. And I have my PlayStation 4 just sitting on a shelf, contempted. Don't worry, I still love you. I don't know whether or not the PlayStation 5 is... I don't know. I've never actually played the PS5, so maybe... I wouldn't know. Anyway, which were at the time rivals to his beloved N64 and GameCube respectively, even though the PlayStation 2 was the best. It just is. His hatred for Sony and its gaming products, described by Chris as equal to his contemporary hatred of Microsoft, evaporated when he purchased a PlayStation 1 at an SPCA rummage sale for a bargain. He intended to sell it for profit, but instead played it and found it to be enjoyable. Instead of learning from this, discovering that rival consoles can be equally enjoyable, Chris simply became a Sony fanboy in addition to a Nintendo fanboy, and began hating Microsoft. I'm pretty sure Sony must have been amazed at this revelation as well. In fact, again, Microsoft may just accept this and just move on.